Hey everyone, welcome to Stories with Sapphire Live. Every Wednesday, I will be live streaming on Twitch and reading your emails and stories that you send. I get so many that some don't make it to the channel or the podcast, and so I thought it would be kind of fun to read some of them live. Cold, I don't read these ahead of time, which is probably not a great thing. But here we are. So every Wednesday on twitch.tv/Sapphire Sandalo. Oh my goodness. This is so embarrassing. There it is. I was like, what's happening? Okay. So I know that I've got some. I had a whole. I was like, something's different. So embarrassing. Okay. And let me know if the campfire sound effects are too much because I can't hear them on my end. But yeah, so every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard, I go live. But if you missed the live stream, because, we've all got busy lives, I post it the next day on YouTube, so you can watch it then. All right, let's get into it. So we've got a story here from Isabel. Okay. When I was 9, me and my family went to this campsite where it was up in the mountains in Arizona. I can't really remember the name, but as soon as we got there, our truck broke down for the first time in forever. Although I wasn't surprised at all because the truck was old. My grandpa had this truck until he passed away. It was an old green truck with scratch marks on the side. We didn't think much of it and carried on with the trip, going fishing and stuff like that. When it hit dark, we made a tent on the back of the truck and went to sleep. I was slowly falling asleep, but then I woke up with a strange noise of someone walking around the truck. The front of the tent was open, so I didn't get to see them, but it sounded like they were walking slowly around the truck. I was scared out of my mind, but also curious, so I took a peek at what might be a man who just stood there lifeless. When it became day, the car was magically working again and everything went smoothly. There was no problem with the car. So I was wondering, did the strange figure, was it helping us or planning on doing something else? We may never know. Ooh, oh no. Thank you, Isabel, for sharing that. Yeah, it's always really creepy when it's like something visits and you don't know if it was gonna help you or hurt you. Interesting. I want to say it was helping because your car was fine, or maybe it stopped your car because it wanted to do little loops around your car. All right, thank you for that. Let's switch this to red. Boop, boop. All right. Let's see, we got another one. Yeah, the shorter ones are better for the live stream for sure. Longer ones are great for the podcast. Milky rolls, we gotta go. Okay, you guys like the campfire sound effects. All right, cool. Okay. So this is from Joey. Dear Sapphire, this will be my second story with you. I wanted to thank you for reading my first story, Signs from the Other Side, aloud. Don't remember which one that was. It brought tears to my eyes to hear it. I forgot I sent it in. This is less of a story and more of a question. I had a dream that I'd like your help interpreting. In the dream, I was laying down just the same way that I fell asleep in real life. I was looking down at my body and felt this spirit or shadow or something present near me. My horizontal body started lifting from the bed. I was looking down over my chest and stomach, and I thought to myself, just stay still. This is what happens when you interact with spirits. You just need to let it happen. I started feeling incredibly nauseated in the dream. Perhaps I went upside down? I can't recall. I felt frightened the whole time. I remained calm only as a measure of self-preservation. I didn't see anything significant in my dream. My room looked like my room, and my body looked like my body. What does this dream mean? Did I levitate? Astral project? Nausea at night isn't that uncommon for me, but in a dream, it is. It felt real, and my body felt a little wonky when I woke up. What do you think? Best wishes, Joey. Well, thank you for sending that in, Joey. So, I have not astral projected yet. Working on it. So it's not something that I have personal experience with, but I do lucid dream a lot. And I'm wondering, well, when we're dreaming, we are in a much more vulnerable state. We are a lot more capable of interacting with the spirit world and having wild things happen to us because we're sort of in that state. And I cannot remember where I read this. It's something like the wave that we're at when we're sleeping. Anyways, I'm not a brain scientist, so I don't know. If it felt very real, there is a chance that maybe you were actually astral projecting. I don't know. Maybe you should try doing it again. I don't know what triggered it the last time, though. But just make sure that you're careful. Apparently, like, there is a myth that astral projection, you could, lose your body if you don't tether yourself properly. But I've read places that it's actually, I don't think that's possible. So you might be fine. Oh, we got some more chats. Gentleman Drew, 18, hello. Bibbidi boppity boo. Feels weirdly better to study while listening to spooky stories. Oh, cool. Awesome. I'm glad. All right. Well, thank you, Joey. Let's click this. Oof. I feel kind of nauseous. All right. Let's pull up another guy here. This one's from Chloe. I was about 12 or 13 and was in my reading writing class. On this day, we had moved most of the tables to the front to have a discussion, and our notebooks and folders were left at the back of the room. When the discussion was over, I went to collect my things. As I picked them up, I saw something fall, and there was a metal clink. On the table lay a corroded metal bow. It was clearly very old and was covered in holes that must have once held stones. is it metal bowl? Maybe it's bowl. I was surprised and confused by this discovery. It seemed like it had been intentionally placed in my belongings. I still have it and have done extensive research on what it is and how old it could be. I figured out that it's a shoe clip from the early 1900s. When it was new, it must have been beautiful. How and why it was in my school materials is still a mystery to me. Nobody claimed it, which leads me to believe it was potentially a gift. I'm just not sure if the giver was alive or ghostly. That school was very old and has an assortment of ghost stories. The most well-known was of a teenage girl who died on campus. The story says that she was showering in the locker room alone, as the other girls had already finished and left. Unfortunately, she slipped and cracked her head open. She bled to death on the shower floor, alone. She supposedly haunted that locker room for the next 100 years. I used that room many times after PE, and I can confirm it is a creepy place. It was dark, cold, and was completely devoid of color. Unfortunately, I never had any spooky experiences there. I don't know why this experience happened to me, but it helped spark my interest in the unknown and paranormal. I've been obsessed ever since. I've heard very few other stories like mine and would love to hear your thoughts about it. Thanks. Your podcast is wonderful, by the way. Thank you, Chloe. Okay, so maybe you do mean bow. I'm not sure what... I wish you sent a picture because I would love to see what it looks like. I'm not entirely sure what... a shoe clip? What is a shoe clip for? What are you clipping on your shoe? Does anyone in the chat know? Yeah, I mean, let's say that the school is haunted by that girl and maybe possibly other spirits. spirits can interact with the physical world. They can move things. They can make things appear in other places where they weren't. I don't know how that works. I just know that they can because I've heard enough stories to know. So hold on to that. Do some more research. Maybe find a psychic or medium who has psychometry skills. Psychometry is the belief that every object retains the memories of its past in it. And if you can find a powerful psychic or medium, they can maybe give you some more insight as to who owned it. That might be kind of cool. All right. Thank you, Chloe. Let's save that. Count 17. Okay. That one's too long. Okay, this one looks fun. This one's from, doesn't really have a name, Angelo Lucian. Hey, Sapphire, I have an original creepy story for you. I'm from the Philippines. Hee hee. The Loop. Everyone loves games, even if it's with themselves. One day, a girl named Haley wanted to play a game. After moving away from her home, she started to miss her friends. It was around 11 p.m. when she decided she would try making a new game. A one-player game, that is. She called it An Hour with Yourself. The rule of her game was just to bring a mirror everywhere you went and talk to it until 12 midnight. She took a slightly large mirror with her as she went into the kitchen to grab some food. She placed the mirror down and just talked to it while eating her snack. As she ate her snack, talking to the mirror, she heard her front doorknob twist violently. She decided that she would see for herself who was on the other side. As she slowly walked to the door, the twisting stopped. She rushed to the door, but no one was there. She walked back to the kitchen. But to her horror, the window was open. She ran upstairs, grabbed the telephone, and locked herself in her room. She stepped back and hid in her closet. She called 911 about a break-in and entering. But there was no signal. She heard her door open. Footsteps wandered around the room. They grew closer and closer to the closet. The doors flew open, and she saw a figure that looked just like her. It pulled out a knife and stabbed her in the chest. Several hours later, she woke up. Miraculously, she survived. She was not at her home. She was a few blocks away from her home. So she started walking. She was plotting on how she was going to stop that thing in her house. She reached her house and tried to open the door, but it was locked. She decided to try to get in a different way. She found the kitchen window and climbed through since it was unlocked. She grabbed a knife from the kitchen and hid. She heard footsteps upstairs and a door slamming shut. She then walked up the stairs, knife in hand. She kicked the door open, sure that the monster was still in her room. She checked under the bed. There was no one there. She wandered around the room, and she noticed the closet. She slowly walked up to the closet, opened the door, and stabbed the thing in the chest. It fell to the floor. And that's when she realized she was the monster. Ooh, that's fun. That's cool. That's a cool little twist. That's awesome. I'm going to save that one. So Secret Time, the live stream is also a way for me to read through your stories. Because there's so many. All right. Let's see. What's another one? AAA Samurai has chills. Okay, we're not going to do that one. Sorry, guys. This is what happens when we're live. Okay, we got one from Zahara. Hey, Sapphire. I don't know if you'll see this, but I felt the need to tell you this story. I've always believed that I had some sort of gift. I don't know how to explain it, but there would be instances where I'd have vivid dreams, and the next day it would happen. Like it could be on the news or happening to me. Anyway, this happened when I was 10. I was on a school camping trip, and after we set up our tents, some of the boys decided that we should tell scary stories. I rolled my eyes at the idea, but I went along with it. After we settled down and ate some marshmallows, it was time to tell the stories. One boy, we'll call him Louis, started the story. Apparently, in the 90s, my school had a man enter our woods and kidnap 3 schoolgirls. There was no evidence of any man or kidnapping. It was as if the girls just disappeared. And to make matters worse, the day the girls disappeared was the same day we went camping. I was already on edge that we were doing this in the woods and at night. Everyone was laughing and saying that Louis was full of crap, but I believed there were elements of truth behind what he was saying. Maybe an hour later, I decided that it was time to go to bed. My friends agreed, and we all went back apart from Rosa. She was in love with scary stories, almost like an obsession, so she stayed back, and for some odd reason, my gut was telling me not to leave her. But I was so drained, and I felt my eyes drooping. Then I woke up after another vivid dream, but this time it was about my friend Rosa. She was on a missing persons poster. I shook that thought away and blamed it on Louis' story. The next morning, I woke up alone in the tent. I was a bit disoriented, so I went outside and felt the atmosphere was tense. Everyone was huddling together and conversing with pale faces. I walked over to see what was going on. Turns out my dream was real. Rosa went missing. I felt my heart drop to my stomach. I felt this dread come over me to the point where I thought I was about to faint. It was surreal. She was just with us a few hours ago, and her stuff was still here. We went searching for hours on end, and we found nothing. She just vanished. It's been 4 years now, and I blame myself for not listening to my gut and not staying with Rosa or bringing her with me. I still can't understand why my dreams are so vivid and why they come true. I've been to therapy, and I even went to a psychic. And sometimes, I think I may have caused Rosa's disappearance. Whoa. Zahara, thank you for sharing that. If this is true, I want you to know that you are not responsible for whatever happened to Rosa. And I think it sucks. But absolutely is not your fault. And I really hope that she is found. You know what's wild? So many people go missing every single year. And there's so many people that it can't even all be covered on the news. People just go missing. Oh, that's so wild. And like back in the day before the internet, apparently people, oh God, I don't even remember where I read this, but it was something like it was very common, especially in the 50s or 60s, like if teenagers or 20-somethings disappeared, sometimes their parents would just be, well, I guess they ran away from home. Nothing we can do. Like what? Like that was just considered a norm. Has anyone else heard that before? Am I just making that up? I feel like I read that somewhere. All right. I think we've got time for one more. Oh, excuse me. I feel nauseous. Ugh. Do I eat? Welcome to my life, guys. I'm constantly just like wondering if I ate because I often forget. I'll find a good one. I mean, I wouldn't know. I haven't read these yet. You can kind of tell. The spirits are getting angry. All right, let's do... All right, let's read this one. This one's from Natalie. And this will be our last story. When I was a little girl, I lived in California in a small city. Until I was about 6 or 7 years old, we moved to a new apartment not so far from where we used to live. Things were fine the first couple of weeks. I also had a house in my front yard. It was those kinds of mini houses for little kids. My front yard is right in front of the parking lot as well. So one day, I was playing in my mini house while my mom was cooking in the kitchen. When I was playing dolls in the house, there was this little girl around my age. She was completely pale with black hair and small lips. She asked me if she can play with me. Me, being a little girl, thought nothing weird about it and said yeah. The girl was extremely nice, and we played until my mother said it was time to eat. I then said, "Do you want to eat with us?" And the girl said, "I should be getting home now." I understood. When I was eating, I told my mom about the girl I met. She was confused but thought it was my imaginary friend I came up with. After that day, me and the girl played every single day. Like I said before, my mom thought I had an imaginary friend because she said she couldn't see her. After a month meeting her, she came over again as always, but then something happened. She accidentally touched me, which is something she never did before. But this touch wasn't any human touch. When I felt her touch me, it was pure coldness, and it gave me shivers. I felt uncomfortable and scared. I ran into the house and never went outside for the entire rest of the day. My mother was confused and asked me what happened. I told her I just had stomach pain, but that's it. After that, I did not want to play with her ever. I kept on thinking when she touched me, it felt so wrong. I can't even explain. I stopped eating, and I was a little chubby girl, so my mother saw me lose weight. My skin turned paler and paler. My mom always tried to bring me outside to my mini house, but I cried, and so, no, I did not want to see that girl. Then one day I saw the girl outside when I was in my living room, and she was talking to me, telling me to play. I screamed. We moved out a couple weeks after that. When we were packing our stuff, my mom had told the neighbor about my imaginary friend, and that I stopped playing with her. Then the neighbor said that a girl actually died in that exact complex where we were living. Oof. Thank you, Natalie. We all saw that coming. Great story. It does remind me of something that happened to my cousin. I think I did a something scary episode on it. The little red girl that she didn't want to play with. It's very common. Children see other children all the time, which is so spooky, especially because, like, an actual child ghost is actually rare because children are so young and innocent that they will not let their consciousness tie them to Earth. So if you're seeing something that looks like a child, there's a really good chance it is not, and that it is something charading, is that the word? Pretending that it is a child to lull you into a sense of safety. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining me. This is gonna happen every week, so if you missed it this time, I'll see you next week. All right. Bye, everybody.